In Tehran, huge crowds have been saying farewell to former Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei 4 months after he was killed during the conflict between Iran and the US and Israel. The state funeral is taking place in 5 cities across Iran and its neighbor and former enemy Iraq, which also has a large Shia Muslim population. Khamenei will be buried next week. Now, this is happening as the US and Iran observe a fragile ceasefire after signing a preliminary deal to end their conflict.
In the streets of Tehran, mourning mixed with rage as supporters of the Iranian regime bid farewell to their former supreme leader, 4 months after Ali Khamenei was killed by US and Israeli bombs. Dignitaries from 30 nations paid their last respects on Friday, including Dmitry Medvedev, former president of Russia, and Pakistan's Shehbaz Sharif, a key mediator in peace talks between the United States and Iran. For some, Khamenei's killing means there can be no peace with Washington.
We came here to bid farewell to him, but we'll certainly avenge his blood. Everyone here has come to avenge the blood of their supreme leader. As our leader has said, we have a blood feud with the United States. Our relations with the United States will never be good.
Yet others see room for agreement.
Look, let me tell you something. The United States, that's a superpower. It wants certain things from us. I believe we should give some things.
Iran's former supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, will be laid to rest next week.
Let's bring in Giorgio Cafiero, the founder and CEO of Gulf States Analytics, a geopolitical risk consultancy based in Washington. It's good to have you with us, Giorgio. Now, Ali Khamenei's funeral is taking place on the day the US is celebrating its 250th anniversary. Is that a coincidence?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on as your guest. Good to be with you. No, I don't think it's entirely a coincidence. I think there's certainly a message being sent to the United States right now. The message from the Islamic Republic is that the government of Iran was able to weather this war in which 2 nuclear-armed states, 2 very powerful militaries, the US and Israel, were waging war on Iran. The message is one of resistance and resilience. At the same time, it's important to take stock of the message from Iran that despite the war, the Islamic Republic managed to pull off this transition to a new supreme leader. And just to repeat, there's definitely a very strong message to the United States, and the timing with this coinciding with the 4th of July being celebrated in the United States, 250th anniversary of the founding of the United States, no coincidence at all.
In fact, at the venue, there have been chants of death to America. There have been calls for revenge. Is that just a ritual call, or do you think it's a call from the hardliners to the authorities to abandon diplomacy?
Well, Iran is not a simple country, very complicated country. The Iranian society is certainly not monolithic. There are elements within the country, very hardline elements, who do want to bring about an end to the negotiations. But at the same time, I think we need to understand that people might be chanting this for different reasons. I think there's just a lot of emotion in Iran right now. The second supreme leader of the Islamic Republic killed at the outset of the war, a very important political and religious leader. Many Iranians do not support their government, but also many do, and really saw him as a father of the nation. And I think it's just important to understand that for millions of people in Iran, this is just a very, very emotional funeral, very powerful religious and political messages being sent out. And again, I think people might be chanting this for different reasons.
On that note, I was just going to also ask, the massive turnout there, just wondering if that tells us anything about the support for the regime from ordinary Iranians?
Well, Iran is a country of 90 million people. Obviously, there are segments of the society who are not participating, but I think, if I understand correctly, the number of Iranians who are expected to participate, I believe, is around 15 million, maybe 20 million. So the Islamic Republic certainly has its supporters in the country, and they are definitely coming out to show their support for the country's leadership. But again, Iran is a very complicated country, and it's important to not try to put all Iranians in one box. Definitely, there are many divisions in Iran, just as there are in the United States and many countries around the world. Definitely not a monolith.
Right. Ali Khamenei's son, Mojtaba, has been reported as elected as his successor, but not been seen in public, not even today. So what's your reading of that?
Well, I think we need to be careful before coming to bold conclusions as outsiders. There are many rumors, a lot of speculation about the extent to which he suffered injuries during the attack that killed his father, as well as other members of his family. I do not know his physical state, the state of his health at this point, but I think obviously those factors could be relevant to why he hasn't been seen in public this whole time. But at the same time, there are legitimate security reasons for the Iranian authorities to prevent him from participating in these funeral ceremonies. Obviously, in Iran, they take very seriously threats from Israel, and the last thing they would want is for the current supreme leader to be assassinated during these funeral ceremonies. They also do not want the Israelis to be able to figure out where he would go after the funeral. So regardless of his health and his physical state, I think there are very legitimate security reasons that help us understand why the Iranian authorities would not want him to be seen in public during his father's funeral.
Okay, we'll have to leave it there. Giorgio Cafiero from Gulf State Analytics. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
For more, we're going to bring in Dr. Rowena Binti Abdul Razak, lecturer in the history of the Middle East and Africa, SOAS, London. Rowena, welcome. One has to assume Tehran is trying to convey a clear message at home and internationally with the scale and choreography of this event, especially against the background of its ongoing conflict with the U.S.
Thank you so much for having me. Yes, it's deeply symbolic. It's not only being held in Iran, but also Iraq. It's over a period of several days. The timing is also quite significant. Yeah, it's a way in which that Iran can show that it has come out of the war with the US united, strong, resilient, and also to show that it has its allies by its side, as we can see with the guests who have arrived. So deeply symbolic, deeply important for Iran's domestic and international image.
Of course, the funeral is taking place as the U.S. celebrates its 250th anniversary of its independence. Is the timing here symbolic? And if so, what's the narrative Tehran is trying to construct?
Yeah, it's quite interesting that they're having it on this weekend, and I'm not surprised if that was something that the organizers and the Iranian leadership sort of took into consideration. We should also remember that it's the holy month of Muharram, which is a very important religious month, especially in the Shi'i calendar. So it's very symbolic. It's to commemorate Battle of Karbala. So there's a lot of focus on martyrdom and sacrifice. So also, I think we should also take that into consideration as well. And well, if it sort of lands on the same day as the 4th of July, then it kind of lines up different kinds of symbols altogether.
One of the biggest stories surrounding this funeral is who isn't there. The current supreme leader, Mojtaba Khamenei, has yet to appear in public. How significant is his absence, and what message does that send both inside and outside the country?
It's quite significant, and it's actually quite a surprise that he's not there, because this would have been a good opportunity to show his face. Ahmad Vahidi, for example, the head of the IRGC, he who's not been seen since February. He was at the funeral. He's been seen at the funeral. Pezeshkian. And so it's quite significant that Mojtaba is not there. I mean, they've cited his health, they've cited security reasons, and so on. But at the same time, it is quite interesting that they've chosen not to show him. It also kind of reveals that the Iranian leadership may not necessarily need him. On one hand, it probably speaks to an issue within the leadership himself. I mean, he was appointed very quickly after his father's death, so he may not have had the same kind of support base as initially thought. He also, his absence also means that the Iranian leadership can kind of function without him. There are, as we know, the Iranian leadership is very complex, very multi-layered. So it also shows that the country can manage without him. So that's also quite symbolic and interesting.
If he remains out of public view throughout these entire 6 days, could that change perceptions of who's in control?
I would say so. They're still sort of saying that he is the supreme leader in name and so on, and they're trying to show some sort of continuity between father and son. But it also shows that he's not the most important person in the picture. He might still be calling the shots in the background. We're not privy to that. We're not aware of that. But it also shows that power lies in other places, like the head of the IRGC. We have characters like Kalibaf as well, who's played a very significant role in the negotiations and who's also the Speaker of Parliament. We have Abbas Arakchi, the foreign minister, as well as the president himself, Pezeshkian. So I think we can see that power lies in other places, not just in the office of the supreme leader.
Rowena Binti Abdul Razak from SOAS University in London. Many thanks as always.